Hello, spooky family. Welcome back to another episode of True Horrors. I am your host, Mercy Desdemona, and today we will be taking a look at an unsolved case from history called the Servant Girl Annihilator. Now, because the case remains unsolved, upon my research I stumbled upon some theories. I will be telling them at the end of the video. I will share my theories, and as usual in the comments down below, I want to hear your theories. The Servant Girl Annihilator attacked 8 people between 1884 and Christmas Eve 1885. The victims were attacked in their homes before being dragged outside and brutally mutilated. There was one eyewitness account that claimed to see a man, but the case remains unsolved due to the lack of modern technology. Now, some of these victims we're going to go over died a very gruesome death, and if that's something that makes your stomach queasy about, I would highly recommend maybe watching more of the review videos and the top lists, and I'll see you next time. But if you're here for True Horrors, continue watching. So let's go over the victims of the Annihilator. The first victim was Molly Smith, a young African-American servant girl who was found outside the home of her employer on December 30th, 1884. She was found with a gaping axe wound to the head and stabbed multiple times throughout her whole body. Victim number 2, Eliza Shelley. Yet again, we have a young African-American servant girl. She was found on May 7th, 1885, and her head was almost split in two by an axe. Victim number 3, Irene Cross. She was found on May 23rd, 1885, stabbed multiple times with a knife and almost scalped. Victim number 4, Mary Ramey. An 11-year-old girl who was dragged from her home into a wash house to be assaulted before she was stabbed through the ear. She was found August 30th, 1885. Gracie Vance in Orange, Washington. 2 lovers that were found on September 30th, 1885. Their heads were practically just bludgeoned, and according to reports, Gracie was unrecognizable and almost to a jelly material. That's a pretty gruesome way to go. Now, the last 2 victims don't fit the others because they were high society white women. Susan Hancock and Eula Phillips. These 2 women were murdered in their homes. Susan's head was split in 2 just before midnight on Christmas Eve, 1885. Her other wounds revealed that there must have been some sort of sharp object going through her ear and into her brain, which I can't even imagine going through any of that. Eula shortly perished after her, well, after Susan was found, shall we say, the early mornings of Christmas Day. Eula's head had been crushed by an axe, and she was found laying on her back. She too had been assaulted, and her arms were pinned down by a timber. Now, back then, they didn't have technology. They couldn't do fingerprinting, blood tests, anything like that. So all they had were the sniffer dogs, and they were trying to find out who it is, but to no luck. But the murders still stopped. So let's talk about the aftermath. About 400 men were arrested in 1885 under the suspicion of being our servant girl Annihilator. But none of them were successfully tried in the courts. Three theories that I found interesting in my research. After I state theirs, I will state mine, and I would love to see yours in the comments down below. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up for more true horrors and all things spooky here at Desdemona Productions. First theory is a Malaysian cook by the name of Maurice. He worked at a place called the Pearl House Hotel in Austin, and he had told his pals that he wants to go overseas to like England, and he left in January 1886, weeks after our Mr. Annihilator stopped killing. Number 2. James Maybrick was thought to be a servant girl, Annihilator, and Mr. Jack the Ripper by an author by the name of Shirley Harrison. According to Maybrick's journal, he apparently confessed to killing prostitutes and had a page signed Jack the Ripper. I didn't really look in depth in that, so I don't know whether it's true or not. It's a possibility Mr. Maybrick could have been both. Mr. Maybrick died in 1889. They're guessing of an arsenic poison that they think was administered by his wife, and after he passed, both murders ceased, so could it be? And the final theory is of Mr. Nathan Elgin. He was a 19-year-old cook who was shot by police in February of 1886 for dragging a girl out of a saloon where he was drinking. That would raise some red flags right there. The shot did kill Mr. Elgin though, and right about that time the murders have ceased. So I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think the servant girl Annihilator was one of the 3 gentlemen up above? Or is the Annihilator just lost to the sands of time? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. My theory is I am kind of a skeptic on whether it's all 3 of them. I think, well, not all 3 of them, but one of 3 of them. I think if it had to be one, it could have been Mr. Elgin because he was seen dragging a girl out of a public place. However, to me, I think it's lost of time, and I think back then, because of the age of massive sexism, the way that the women were brutally, like, murdered, I don't know, like, I gotta remember, some of them were assaulted, so it couldn't have been a woman, it had to have been a dude. To me, I think it's lost to the sands of time here. Or were 2 people the Annihilator? Was somebody scoping these girls out so the Annihilator knew who they... I have no idea. To me, it would be an unsolved crime. So, I will see you guys next time on another episode of True Horrors. I'm Mercy Desdemona, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe for more creepy and unusual. Bye.